There's been some amazing momentum, a lot of self-discovery. Yet, I do want to bring something that actually got me slightly and riled up in an aspect where I felt more frustrated after this encounter. I wasn't angry, I wasn't mad, I wasn't yelling, yet I was just more frustrated. And that emotion kind of went again, another 0 to 100 per se. I see it that way. Uh, it's an individual. Actually, there's been like two incidents of that back to back where I have discussions with individual and I end up seeing this aspect of they're shaming and blaming other people for not, like, one of them was like, oh, all these new agers and spiritual circles, they're taking credit from God, they're not giving credit back to God. And it's like, what? Oh yeah, they have to give it back to God in this specific way or that specific way. And that felt kind of like, okay, well, you are tiptoeing the line between going back into this aspect of Christianity. Let me look at someone else's backyard and shame them, blame them, make them look wrong because they're not necessarily doing the same spiritual practice that I'm doing. And the other encounter was a similar thing where, in a similar vein, a a specific neighbor of theirs was working, let's say around 10 in the morning, and this person was kind of getting fed up because it's like, hey, you're making sound, you're making noise, and I don't get to enjoy my peace with God. And I kind of felt, hey, I wanted to talk with that person, had a discussion, and again this idea of, oh, but I could change that person and then make them right if they understand how to connect with God and they understand my intention. It's like, but you're trying to change this other person, you're trying to impose your perception and your preference on this other person. uh, and it hasn't been the first time I've seen that. There's been a couple of uh, acquaintances that were still connected to Christianity or that kind of perspective, or were helped with these groups. And I always felt like this unease around them because there's this r- simulated or unbalanced righteousness saying that, yeah, but that's God sending me this message. And it's like, you're getting an input, you're imposing your lens of perception, your idea of your connection with God on another individual, because it's a single lens. All these individuals I've noticed was they were kind of looking at this spirituality aspect from one lens, one way of perception. And it kind of goes back to this weird my way or the highway type of perception. No non-dualistic balance, or maybe more of a lack of compassion for other individuals. Kind of like they're supposed this idea of they're supposed to XYZ. If you understand what I mean, they're supposed to blank, insert whatever you want to say. We've seen the programs, we've seen the workbook, we've seen the playbooks over the decades and era. Same thing, add a different blank. You see? And that, I am dealing with one or two, I believe, past lives with with those specific thematics. Whether it's cult, whether it is Franciscan monks. And again, take it with a grain of salt if you don't believe in the whole past life thing, or if it's not even in your radar. It's all right. Not everyone dives into that. Okay. Um, Same goes with crystals or sound healing. You choose what works with you. Yet I know I had a massive reaction because of those past life connections, as well as dealing with a very controlling and indoctrinating mother, hashtag old school Caribbean parents, Christian, going Catholicism and, the, this very unbalanced aspect of preaching, or not necessarily practicing what they preach. So it it irked me in the moment, but then I realized, okay, well, if I'm gonna go ultra cosmic ego, super ultra cosmic ego, nah, that's good. That dark side aspect on that person or on these individuals, then I wouldn't be no better. Or it would be unbalanced for me. It's not an aspect of being better. See, language, the kind of language that's repeated in movies and in our sitcoms, which is then parroted in our vlogs. So I made that mistake. I caught it. Nice. It would be quite unbalanced. Plus, once you understand the whole energetical boomerang, you don't fuck with that, or you don't play like that, because you'll receive the same thing from another side or another perspective or another point of view. So, and like I mentioned earlier on, or maybe I never mentioned it, I was always shy about talking about metaphysics and talking about these spiritual concepts and experiences, own personal testimonials, because I didn't necessarily want to fall into this habit, into this behavior. Okay? I'm very, very cautious of my language because I would rather not un, unconsciously bring this imbalance where it's like, this is why I always say, make your own experiments, gather as many testimonials as you can, connect the dots on your own. Don't see this as gospel. Okay? I absolutely despise how this cultish aspect, this controlling culting aspect, has caused so much pain in people and has caused so many mental viruses. It's like, oh, you don't get to think like that or else you're bad. And it's like, says who? This one person out of a fucking billion. Like, that drives me up a wall. And remember, I spoke about feeling the collective pain on some of these things. I guess it's an ability. It's something that I have. It's on certain subjects. It's just at times it becomes overwhelming. Bring out the tissue box. Yet there is more and more empathy for what had been lived. Of course, now the balancing act that I got to master was like, okay, but that doesn't mean I got to be a knight in shining armor for certain individuals. I'm here to help them expand, or it's kind of like the expandor instead of the selector in Virtual Fighter, video game reference, soundtrack wise. Yet it's more, hey, I'm here to facilitate your growth. I'm not here to hand you a key or to tell you that this is an absolute. No, it's just giving you a series of perception that helps you expand in your own unique way. I Again, this is not gospel. This is simply like, yo, we can even look at it from science. Going back to the aspect of connecting the dots, multi-class, observe all religions, read all the text, look at them all. Don't stay stuck in the one and done. You have access to all of it. And then use quantum physics as a grounding base, an interconnected grounding base that is, to a certain degree, emotionless, yet like a video game, you will make your own test and get results. With that, with all those chains connected, it becomes much more, oh, okay, this is how I connect with God, source, universe, whatever you want to call it. Different names, same energy, different eras, different perceptual lens, yet you don't get stuck with the one and done lens that brings you into these unbalanced state where you lose empathy for other people that don't have that same lens. So after just kind of having these reactions internally, because yeah, I just had to let myself in a closed space, in a container, whether it's in the mind space or in my own room, just to cuss it out, let the cussing out go. Asking my body, yo, why do you feel like that? Oh, well, these goddamn bloody ass piece of shit moral. Let it flow. They're repeating the same issue that Christianity messed around with people. Oh, not just in Christianity. There's multiple other. Let me not open that box about Hare Krishna. All right. No, no, no. You can find imbalances in multiple practices. Hey, even in spiritual, definitely. You'll find imbalances in multiple practices. The key is observe multiple practices to see where the pitfalls and the imbalances are so you can kind of balance it out. And what's cool is let's say, Tao Te Ching can balance one aspect of Christianity, and then one aspect of Christianity can balance one aspect of Hinduism. You understand what I mean, concept wise? As you observe the multiple lenses, it becomes much easier to balance them all and find a center point that brings you one closer to the all because you're communicating with it from multiple perspective, an amalgamation of multiple perspective. And then two, that also gives you a lot more compassion for individuals around because there is a more cautious understanding of how individuals get to perspectives and point of view, as well as also you're not necessarily phased by different practices. Live and let live, because fully and cautiously understanding that you will face your actions and the repercussions of your actions, meaning how another person feels about your actions, okay? How you made another person feel with your actions, both positive and negatives. In that process, that's called the life review. This time around, ain't no escape. It's confirmed by near-death experiences along with ancient text and different kind of channeling. So this is nothing to fuck around with. Go check out near death experience. Individuals will talk, many of them will talk about that life review process, and it's not a finger slapping thing, slapping the wrist or slapping the hand or shame, 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 you should have. No, it's just, here's how you made people feel by those kind of interactions. How would you like to, and you're facing yourself from their perspective and their point of view in their body, feeling the energy that you send out. So it's a very fascinating process for me, that learning about that initially from channeling, so channeled material, contacting spirits about that, talking about those process, or even different entities talking about those process. But then once I started to see more and more near-death experience, as well as the book Journey of Soul, which is past life regression, then I'm like, oh, wow, yeah, okay, now I see. And it kind of, instead of what would be fear, because there's certain individuals that would have fear from this, prime ministers and presidents, army veterans and shit. Well, and it's not to say the veterans are bad. Again, it's not good, bad, right, wrong. It's just, if you take a life, you will feel that taking of a life, or you will feel your life being taken that way as well. It's, again, after death or even near death experiences, you'll feel that in the coma. And some people know about this process, but in fear the fuck out of it. But it's not about fear. It's just, oh, that's how it works. Okay, well, then I will start understanding my reaction, my behaviors, and my perceptions so that I don't, to the best that I can, to the best that I can, but not in a crazy I must type of deal. To the best that I can, I'll watch my reactions and interaction with other individuals so that I don't impose something onto them, um, and I become a bit more, or I become way more sympathizing for where they're at, Yet that's not condoning certain unbalanced behavior, like what had been experienced in the last few months, uh, over with certain individuals that were mentioned in prior videos. It's not condoning that. And, chaos, chaos, that chaos group, but various other aspects too. There's an acquaintance that of mine, which maybe I've mentioned, but went into this unbalanced aspect of Christianity and got into this savior complex. No, it's not condoning those kind of behavior, yet it's understanding where those behaviors come from. It's not judging them for where they're at. It's simply, oh, okay, this is how you get to that behavior, and this is your current point of your journey. So I just gotta let it be. I was trying to ask how to call this kind of perception, because there's what I mean is this unbalanced righteousness. I kind of like, because at times I do there's a bit of frustration that kind of goes, why are you seeing God so weak that you think you need to upkeep God's peace? Why do you think God is so weak that you need to force people to give credit to God for certain things? Like, I it's I feel there's a difference between a genuine appreciation for everything that God has created, which includes other individuals and those different perspectives, even the unbalanced one, versus a one lens, one book, fixed, human, and unbalanced idea slash concept of God, still using the word Him instead of understanding that God is everything, all, both genders, all of the genders. It's everything, all. So you see, even in my tone of voice, I'm still kind of irked, annoyed, peeved, because it's like, uh, and I'll be working on that. I'll really be working on that, because if I'm peeved and if I'm annoyed at that, guess what? I'm repeating the same thing. Even with non-duality, and this is like the fucking crescendo of paradoxes that I'm landing on. Even non-duality cannot be imposed. It's kind of like saying, because that would be a duality. It's this way of non-duality or nothing. It is like, well, then you're going back to duality. You see, even that's quite unbalanced. Even getting frustrated to a certain degree, and that's some post-final boss shit. Okay, like, don't don't feel like you need to get to that point. I'm just explaining a current journey, and I'm kind of excited by this too. Post final boss would be forgiving a lot of the chaos group that was interacted with maybe a year ago. Would be complete forgiveness on that end. And after learning that they were Satanists, or some of them were, and had these kind of idea, I'll need to study that a bit more, because I don't necessarily want to explain it in a wrong way, but there's a lot of creeds in that perception, in its type of spirituality, that willingly goes over other people's boundaries. And they don't necessarily acknowledge the karmic and energetic boomerang that they're fucking around with. This is why a lot of them often go into rituals after rituals after rituals. They have to mitigate the damage that they do onto themselves by doing damage to, or as they do damage onto other. It's inevitably I gotta let it go, understanding that there are certain individuals that will simply spiral to their own doom. And that's it, that's all. If you play in that game, same goes with some of those ministers and presidents. Some of those organizations, they're just shooting themselves in the foot with a 12 gauge shotgun every fucking time. And then trying to patch the band aid with another 12 gauge shotgun to the leg. So, uh, I can laugh at the absurdity of those processes and then have compassion for individuals that were groomed into that, or have the feeling and belief that this is the only way they can go through life. And the same would kind of go for these near cult leaders in a sense, or some, what was it? The Russian philosopher Gurdjieff would call them false prophets. Even that, meh, whatever. We're all prophets in our own way. It's all an aspect of balance. So, yeah, like I don't know how to call that. It's as if having such a weak perception of the all, of universe, of source, so that you need to argue and defend it without consciously realizing that it's in everything and everyone. It doesn't need your defending. It's learning and continuously growing through everything and everyone. So naturally, in a planet of 8 billion, and then we go with different, how many numbers of ghosts and energies and entities, and that vast number, practically an infinity, as well as the multiple timelines. Hey, multiverse, right? Well, you can be sure that there's a version of that all, of that source, that doesn't need your protecting, your arguing, your defending, and your um, conversion therapies and conversion crusades. That was all from me. You could say, I want to say it feels imbalanced, childlike filter of consciousness, meaning it's still early, it's still small, it's not filter of consciousness that has multiple lens. It's just a single lens, that's it, that's all. It hasn't necessarily grown to have roots in multiple aspects. Or it would be saying it's a lens of consciousness that's in a pond instead of actually diving in the ocean and exploring the multiple corners and nuances and elevations, or yeah, of that ocean. So I'll get over it. I just gotta get that work done per on the personal part, as well as with those past lives. Again, grain of salt for whoever doesn't really resonate with that. It's okay. Just skip out on that. And then we'll see. So I think that experience, because that's something else to work with. It's another project in the sense, you see, like, and then I get to level up from it. So love it. Fucking love it. It's just that sometimes it's really intense, and I do get to laugh at my own reactions, accidentally or nearly accidentally repeating the same thing I'm chastising. Oh, what a game, right? All right. Hey, we do our best, and we always do our best every time. It's just iteration by iteration by iteration. There is no perfection. You'll never get it wrong. You'll never get it done. So just keep doing it and have fun and laugh about it. It's got to be fun, playful, and not so serious. We saw how that ended, right? Yo, you all have fun with this, and thank you for having fun with it.